Hey YouTube, welcome to Guitar Vocalist, the channel that's all about singer-songwriters and performers getting good at playing guitar, getting good at singing, getting good at doing them at the same time, learning one if you don't know the other, and so on. Today I'm going to be talking about a mindset video again. The mindset of why less is more. The gist is, if you play something simple, or if you play only a little bit, you perform only a little bit, you perform one song but you perform it well, that'll leave much more of an impression on anybody than if you perform a lot of stuff but you do it bad. Quality over quantity. There's a lot of ways that this comes out for guitarists, right? They buy 50 effects pedals, for example, is one way. They get 20 amps, and they just do all this stuff. They just nudge the EQ without really knowing what it means. They just put on distortion because they heard, like, let's put on distortion. Now notice I'm using just an acoustic guitar with zero effect. I'm recording it, and afterwards I'm sometimes doing some stuff, post-processing, to make sure that the sound is balanced and all that, of course. But at the same time, I'm really minimal mindset. At the very beginning, I try and learn any song on an acoustic guitar with my own voice. No effects, no mics, no nothing. That's it. And I record it with like a crappy phone or something like that, just to hear how I did roughly. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't use electric guitars. I'm saying you could use all kinds of stuff. I like doing that too. Part of the reason for why I have an acoustic guitar is actually travel and all that. And I had electric guitars, basses, stuff like that before too, but just because I moved to this new place and now I don't have all that much room at the moment, so I just sort of sold all my other gear. I moved from America to Europe, actually, so yeah, this kind of left me with only my acoustic guitar, and it was great because it gave me a chance to focus on my actual technical skill rather than hiding behind a million effects. So, less is more, okay? I'd rather you're able to play something raw like this and then later say to yourself, well, this would sound good with distortion. Let me add a bit here. Well, the bass is a little too low on my equalizer. Let's turn that up a bit and stuff like that. I know a bassist one time, I can't remember which YouTube channel this was, but he said that he actually does the EQ strategy of setting bass treble mid to 12 o'clock. And he actually controls tone with his finger on the bass. Now, that's easier to do on bass than guitar, but still, he did that. And basically, yeah, I really like that strategy. Set everything to 12, and then just tell yourself, what doesn't sound good? It's a little bit too boomy. Let me turn down the bass. It's a little bit, too whiny. Let me turn up the bass, whatever. I really also like the sound of a raw performance. I just like an unplugged acoustic performance, as you could probably tell from this channel. Again, this isn't to knock on people that want effects. Effects are great. Just only add them after you have already put forth the raw performance and you know that it's up to par. Never use effects as a cover-up to a crappy performance. Another thing is, we talked about EQ. With EQ, one of the things you can do that's great is actually to do subtractive EQ. Actually just lower how much of a frequency you use rather than upping how much you use. Like people tend to go into the equalizer and they tend to be like, well, let's turn this up, turn this up, turn this up. Then everything is up to full after a bit and you're like, wait a minute, we're back to where we started. So just remove the sound that's kind of noise and allow that to filter in the sense that you only hear what you need to hear. And only then start to actually add. It's just a different way of thinking about it. And it's the same way with effects. It's the same way with a performance. I really like rock and metal music, and this is something it's notorious for, is that, once the computer stuff started happening, people were like, well, check out my amazing tube amplifier that I paid thousands for, and check out all these effects I plugged in. And I remember I played in the band with his guitarist that had this massive pedal board, or two pedal boards, and he'd have like pedals hanging off of it, and it was just like, dude, you don't use 70% of that, and you probably use it wrong, and you just don't need all of this. Like, I understand that it's fun to play with that stuff, but my advice is, yes, play with it, but start out with a raw performance and only then move your way up. Also, if you're recording, start off recording a raw performance and then move your way up. It's easier, and you're going to ease into it. One band that just sticks out to me in the world of classic rock is Leonard Skinner. Sweet Home Alabama, all that. If you ever watch Skinner playing live, what's really interesting is that they aren't that good. Okay, like I'm gonna piss some people off here probably. They aren't that musically complex, right? Like someone like Steve Vai or Yngwie Malmsteen plays way more complex stuff than them, right? But the thing is that their performance is just clean. It's like you just hear a basic drum kit, a basic guitar, a basic rhythm / lead guitar, and basic vocals. It's just the song "Simple Man" is a great one, right? I mean, it's about being a simple man, right? So it kind of fits the theme. But if you listen to some songs like that, they don't overplay. And then what happens is they don't have the problem that many of the 80s hair metal guys did, where they just more. Like, how do I sing super high and with the super everything, and super makeup and super everything. And then you just kind of get lost. And if you listen to live performances of some of those bands, it's really just sucks. I mean, some of them are great, and I like the genre as a whole. I liked a lot of the stuff that came out of that era. As a whole, you can't deny that there's many bands out there in the rock world and metal world, even just 10 years ago, when rock started to go on a bit of a decline. I think that didn't help. The fact that all these metal bands just turned up all the everything, turned up the brrr, turned up the distortion, turned up everything, and then you just kind of, people get overwhelmed. They want to listen to it. It's too much for some people, and I think that you can still artfully use effects by starting with a clean, raw sound to begin with. When mixing and recording, or when playing, the basic stuff is there, right? You have EQ, you have compression, you might have reverb, delay, some effects. Start out with just EQ. Before EQ, start out with just volume. Just turn those tabs up and down. Is everything balanced before adding anything? Then add in some EQ, like, maybe some highs, some mids. Slowly subtract some EQ, like I mentioned earlier. And then use some compression just to even it out. Not to change the sound, just to even things out. So when the loud parts are quieter, the quiet parts are louder and all that. So it sounds like a smooth performance. And then you can think, a delay effect would be cool here or whatever. So that's really it. It's just a message. It's just another one of my rants. But I just think that... I think mindset is really important when getting into this stuff. A proper mindset can save you months to years of struggle, years of a plateau where you don't progress. So, again, message of the day is start out clean, start out raw, just do a clean performance, and then add effects. Or when you're setting up your sound on your amplifier, just start out with a clean sound, put all of your EQ up to 12, and then only after that decide to change the EQ or anything else. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you like the channel, all that good stuff on YouTube. Leave a comment below, blah, blah, blah. And I'll see you next time.